Welcome! I'm Lindsay Crane, and these are my retro craft dreams. I am still in my Operation Clean Slate mode, and probably will be for the entirety of this year. Now, this is where I'm trying to finish up and work on all of the projects that I have either started or have been meaning to start for a very long time so that I can clear out my queue and start fresh with new ideas. And most of these projects are rather big, long knitting projects. However, today I think I've got a little quickie. Several years ago, I thrifted this plaid woven fabric. I had really hoped that it would be wool. I did a burn test. It is very not wool. But anyway, it had a small rectangle and then a very, 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 very long strip going down one side. And so I cut the strip off. I'll do something else with the rectangle at some point in time. But I thought this actually could be useful as just a simple scarf. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of scrap busting and stash busting at the same time. I think because this is actually quite scratchy, it's not very pleasant to wear around the neck. So I thought, what if I do a crochet edging in a nice soft yarn and see if that can soften it up a little bit. So that's all we're gonna do today. All I need to do is hem the edges and go through my crochet books and pick an edging design and see how far I can crochet with this little remnant of yarn. This is the last little bit of Lion Brand homespun in the colorway Sierra. This is what's left after I finished my retro tunic a couple years ago. That was my first ever sweater. Although it was crochet and not knit. Hopefully we'll be able to go all the way around the scarf at least twice. One row to pick up the stitches and then another row to do an edging design, but we'll find out. Maybe it won't be enough. Maybe I'll be digging through my stash for a second yarn to add to it. But I thought it would be just a really fun, quick project that would allow me to both stash bust and scrap bust. So let's get going. I've been trying to decide how long I should make my scarf, and I think I'm gonna make it as long as I am. As long as I am tall. I think we're gonna cut it here. Is that? My original intention was to use the entire length and just have a nice long scarf, but I'm not gonna have enough yarn for that. So this is where my height basically is. And I think what I'm gonna do is just make the ends match. So I'm gonna cut it here. Should I just pull a thread and that way I could make sure it's like really even? All right, I'm gonna trim this up for a minute and then we're going to press the hem into place and sew it. So I did go ahead and pull the threads so that it could be very, very straight. I think I'm gonna do a 1/4 inch. Yeah, we just want a 1/4 inch. Now you could probably do this with some fabrics without needing to hem. And now that I've cleaned up the edges, theoretically it probably could work because, you know, the edge stitching itself would protect the edge and keep it together. But this is kind of loosely woven, so I feel like having the hem will just give it a little bit more to hold on to because I feel like it could use that reinforcement. Well, this is gonna take a minute. I will see you again when I am done. So that took me probably 20 minutes to do one edge of this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sew this edge so that I don't mess up the pressed hem. And then I will do the other side. need need to trim the ends, but we have a hemmed scarf. Could be done as it is. But let's see if we can make it look even more fun and also be less scratchy. I have been testing out picking up my stitches on this scarf. Now this, there we go. It's working all right, but it's not looking as tidy as I would like. And it's also quite awkward because since the homespun yarn is so fuzzy, I need a decent sized hook to actually get the stitches. But this hook can't fit in the weave of this fabric. So I'm having to use this teeny tiny one to pull it through, then pull it out with my fingers and put it on the other hook. I would like one size bigger, but I don't have one size bigger. My next bigger one is way too big to get into the weave of this fabric. So this is what I'm stuck with. It would be worth it if it was looking tidy enough, but I don't think that it is. So I've been going through my yarn stash to see if I've got something better to pick up these stitches with. And I had hoped that I could use one of my Kobu yarns. However, I realized that the appropriate colors are for projects I haven't made yet, so they're not leftovers yet. I do have one other yarn I think I'm going to use. It is for another project, but hopefully I'll have enough. So I've got just this cream acrylic. It's just a big twist, so there's plenty of it. I think it's a decent enough match, and I hope that that will just give me a smoother transition from fabric to crochet edging. So I will do the pickup round in this cream big twist, and then I will for sure have enough to at least go around once, if not twice, with this. Also, I am using my little stitch guide to mark my stitches 1/2 inch apart. So that is kind of helping. I can kind of measure with that and poke my hole down in with the little pokey bit. Well, it is still awkward. I still need to use this one in order to keep some kind of tension on these stitches. So no, it's not going to be any easier, but I think it is slightly tidier and it does kind of blend a little better. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to keep going and see if I can find a good rhythm. Only a few hundred more inches to go. To be fair, the instructions in multiple of my books do recommend a blanket stitch for picking up these stitches, but yeah, I'm just going with it. Step 1 is done. It was a lot more time consuming and tedious than I had thought. Certainly more involved than I would have liked, but I think the result speaks for itself. If this weren't a stash busting project, like, this would be cute as it is. Like, it's cute. I like it. A very simple, effective scarf with just a scrap of fabric and some yarn. But this is a stash buster, so next step is to decide on an edging design to use with my homespun yarn. I'm probably going to keep it pretty simple because of the texture of the yarn and the limited quantity, and I'm just really crossing fingers that I'm not going to have to like unravel it and redo it multiple times. if I say get all the way to the end and find that I didn't have enough yarn to go all the way around. So that's what's next, but at least the next part will be much easier because I am going to stitch right into my chain stitches. So yeah, that's actually pretty cute. Yeah, I dig it. That's not bad. Should I have made it longer? I don't know. I think it's a good length for a 70s looking scarf. Yeah, I think so. I am starting with 56 grams in case I forget. And if I get halfway through this edging and I have less than half of my yarn left, then I'll know I need to try something else. So I think these all require way too many stitches. That is what I want to try. And this was that. I am skipping one and then 2 double crochet in the same space, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 more double crochet in the same space. Skipping the next one, 2 double crochet, chain 3, 2 double crochet in the following space. I am really liking that. However, it's a little too dense. It's, you know, curling up, and because this is just a woven material as opposed to a crochet blanket with a crochet edging, like it can't stretch. So I'm gonna have to do that again. Now, I was thinking, would it work to skip 2 spaces and continue doing the same thing? But I don't think it will. Let's just try that. I don't know, maybe that does work. I was worried that it was gonna pull too much, but it just stretched to fit, although I don't know that I like that. Maybe I should just chain 1 in between. Does that work better? Yeah, that could work, unless maybe I just did 1 double crochet, chain, and then 1 double crochet. Let's see how that would work. I think I'm gonna have to do a couple of these to really see what it's gonna look like. All right, that's 3 of them. That just looks more like a diamond mesh, even though it's done with double crochet. I don't think I like that. I mean, I like that, but that's not the effect I want. It just looks like chain stitches and it's not. So we don't want that one for sure. I don't know that I like that very much. This, of course, is the same thing, but without the chain stitch there. Don't like that. This is what I like. I could try a smaller hook on this one, although I don't know that this yarn can work with a smaller hook. Caught on some fuzz already. Bigger hook, smaller hook. I mean, they won't be crowded, it'll work. Well, that is 1/2, and unfortunately, I have less than half of the yarn left, and I didn't even do the end. So I'm gonna have to undo this and choose a different stitch, I think. But I did kind of just want to get a look at it because I like it. And I don't know yet what I'm gonna do instead. It's gonna have to just be something with fewer stitches because there are, each one of these is 4 double crochets plus 3 chains. Just wanted to document it before I rip it all out and start again. Which I did think was a possibility. At least I thought ahead so that I didn't have to do the whole thing, just half. So I am doing a single crochet, double crochet in the same space, chaining 2, another double crochet, and another single crochet in that space. Very similar vibe, but uses a little bit less yarn. And then I would still have preferred to go every other space, but I do think I would have run out of yarn. So I am going in between. So I'm skipping 2 and I'm doing a slip stitch in between. Possibly I should have done a slip stitch into each space, but I didn't do that. So I'm slipping there and then starting my next cluster 1 space beyond that. So I have skipped 2 with a slip stitch in the stitch in the middle. I am fairly satisfied with the appearance of the scallop. However, I do have a lot to learn about getting the proper tension on fabric. I think my stitching is just a little too tight, and I think part of it might be the fact that because I didn't have my edging design planned ahead of time, that means the stitches that I picked up might not be appropriate for the pattern that I did. So in future, I probably will need to choose the crochet edging first so that I can get a gauge on that and determine how many stitches I should pick up. So I'm gonna hold off on cutting the end and weaving that in. I might try and do this again. Unfortunately, I don't have time in this video, so we're not on a clean slate just yet, but I am really digging this combo. I absolutely love how perfectly the color shifts in this yarn match the colors in this fabric. I hope you enjoyed this quick little project. I do wish it had gone a little bit quicker, but if I end up redoing it, you can look for the results of that in my next All My Stitches video, which might be next. Because I have quite a lot of project plans to discuss with you. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you next time. Bye.